Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 2 Chapter 9 answers by citing the Lord's version. Text number 32. Yavan aham yata bhavo. Yavan aham yata bhavo. Yad rupa guna kamakaha. Yad rupa guna kamakaha. Tattva Vijnanam Astu Te Mad Anugraha Astu Te Mad Anugraha Yavanaham Yata Bhavo Yarupa Guna Kamakaha Tattva Vijnanam Astu Te Mad Anugraha Yavanaham Yata Bhavo Yarupa Guna Kamakaha Tattva Vijnanam Astu Te Madanugraha Yavanaham Yata Bhavo Yadrupa Guna Kamakaha Tattva Vijnanam Astu Te Madanugraha
Yavanaham Yata Bhavo Yadrupa Guna Karmaka Tataiva Tattva Vijnanam Astu Te Mad Anugrayat
Astu Te Madanugraha
Yavanaham Yata Bhavo
Yadrupa Guna Karmakaha Tattva Vijnanam Astu Te Mad Anugraha
Yavanaham Yata Bhavo
Yavanaham Yata Bhavo Yadrupa Guna Kamakaha Tattva Vijnanam Astu Te Madanugraha
Yavanaham Yata Bhavo
Yavanaham Yata Bhavo Tathaya Tattva Vijnanam Asute Mananugrahat
Yavan aham yadha bhavo
Yavanaham Yadavavo
Yadrupa guna karmakaha
Yadrupa Guna Karmakaha
Tathaiva tattva vijnanam
Tathaya Tattva Vijnanam
Astute mat anugrahat
Astute Mananugrahat
Yavan. As I am an eternal form,
As I am eternal form,
aham, myself,
myself,
yata,
yatha,
as much as,
bhavaha,
bhavaha, transcendental existence,
transcendental existence,
yat,
yat,
those,
Those
rupa,
Rupa
various forms
Various forms
and colors,
and colors
guna,
Guna
quality,
Qualities
karmakaha,
Karmakaha
activity,
Activities
tata,
Tattva
so and so,
So-and-so
eva,
Eva
certainly,
Certainly
tattva vijnanam,
Tattva Vijnanam
factual realization,
Factual realization
astu,
Astu
let it be,
Let it be
te,
Te
unto you,
Unto you
mat,
My
my,
Mine
anugrahat,
Anugrahat
by causeless mercy.
By causeless mercy
Translation, please repeat. All of me,
All of me
namely my actual eternal form,
Name my actual form
and my transcendental existence,
and my transcendental existence
color,
Color
quality,
Quality
and activity,
and activities
let all be awakened
Let all be awakened
within you
within you
by factual realization
by factual realization
out of my causeless mercy.
out of my causeless mercy.
All of me, namely my actual eternal form and my transcendental existence, color, qualities, and activities, let all be awakened within you by factual realization out of my causeless mercy. Srila Prabhupada's divine purpose. The secret of success in understanding the intricacies of knowledge of the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, is the causeless mercy of the Lord. The secret of success. Even in the material world, the father of many sons discloses the secret of his position to his pet sons. The father discloses the confidence onto the son whom he thinks worthy. An important man in the social order can be known by his mercy only. Similarly, one must be very dear to the Lord in order to know the Lord. The Lord is unlimited. No one can know him completely. But one's advancement in transcendental loving service of the Lord can make one eligible to know the Lord. Here, we can see that the Lord is sufficiently pleased with Brahmaji, and therefore he offers his causeless mercy to him, so that Brahmaji may have the factual realization of the Lord by his mercy only. In the Vedas also it is said that a person cannot know the absolute personality of Godhead simply by dint of mundane education or intellectual gymnastics. One can know the supreme truth if one has unflinching faith in the bona fide spiritual master as well as in the Lord. Such a faithful person, even though illiterate in the mundane sense, can know the Lord automatically by the mercy of the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita also, It is said that the Lord reserves the right of not being exposed to everyone, and he keeps himself concealed from the faithless by his yoga maya potency. To the faithful, the Lord reveals his form, qualities, and pastimes. The Lord is not formless, is wrongly conceived by the impersonalists, but his form is not like one that we have experienced. The Lord discloses his form, even to the extent of measurement to his pure devotees. And that is the meaning of Yavan, as explained by Srila Jiva Goswami, the greatest scholar of Srimad Bhagavatam. The Lord discloses the transcendental nature of his existence. The mundane wranglers make mundane conceptions of the form of the Lord. It is said in the revealed scriptures that the Lord has no mundane form. Therefore, persons with a poor fund of knowledge conclude that he must be formless. They cannot distinguish between the mundane form and the spiritual form. According to them, without a mundane form, one must be formless. This conclusion is also mundane, because formlessness is the opposite conception of form. Negation of the mundane conception does not establish a transcendental fact. Negation of the mundane conception does not establish a transcendental fact. In the Brahma Samhita it is said that the Lord has a transcendental form and that he can utilize any one of his senses for any purpose. For example, he can eat with his eyes and he can see with his legs. In the mundane conception of form, one cannot eat with one's eyes. One cannot eat with one's eyes or see with his legs. That is the difference between the mundane body and the spiritual body of Satchidananda. A spiritual body is not formless. It is a different type of body of which we cannot conceive with our present mundane senses. Formless, therefore, means devoid of mundane form. Formlessness, therefore, means devoid of mundane form, or possessing a spiritual body of which the non-devotee can have no conception by the speculative method. The Lord discloses to the devotee his unlimited varieties of transcendental bodies, all identical with one another, with different kinds of bodily features. Some of the transcendental bodies of the Lord are blackish, and some of them are whitish. Some of them are reddish, and some are yellowish. Some of them are four-handed, and some of them are two-handed. Some of them are like the fish, and some are like the lion. All of these different transcendental bodies of the Lord, without any differential category, are disclosed to the devotees of the Lord by the mercy of the Lord. And thus, the impersonalist false arguments claiming the formlessness of the Supreme Truth do not appeal to a devotee of the Lord, even though such a devotee may not be very advanced in devotional service. The Lord has unlimited numbers of transcendental qualities, and one of them is his affection for his unalloyed devotee. In the history of the mundane world, we can appreciate his transcendental qualities. The Lord incarnates himself for the protection of his devotees and for the annihilation of the faithless. His activities are in relationship with his devotees. Srimad Bhagavatam is full of such activities of the Lord in relationship with his devotees. And the non-devotees have no knowledge of such pastimes. The Lord lifted the Govardhan hill when he was only 7 years old and protected his pure devotees at Vrindavan from the wrath of Indra, who was overflooding the place with rain. Now this lifting of the Govardhan hill by a 7-year-old boy may be unbelievable for the faithless, but for the devotees, it is absolutely believable. The devotee believes in the almighty potency of the Lord, while the faithless say that the Lord is mighty, but do not believe it. Such men with a poor fund of knowledge do not know that the Lord is the Lord eternally, and that one cannot become the Lord by meditation for millions and millions of years, or by mental speculation for billions of years. The impersonal interpretation of the mundane wranglers is completely refuted in this verse, because it is clearly stated here that the Supreme Lord has his qualities, form, pastimes, and everything that a person has. All these descriptions of the transcendental nature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are factual realizations by the devotee of the Lord and by the causeless mercy of the Lord. They are revealed to his pure devotees and to no one else. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport to the 32nd sloka, 9th chapter, 2nd canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, answers by citing the Lord's version. Do we have any comment or question? Katya.
Yeah, what is meant under causeless mercy if we said that Lord has to be pleased first to reveal his omnipotence? He needs to be pleased by devotee. He doesn't do it to the faithless.
Pleasing him is the secret given by his devotees, as well as by the Lord himself in the Bhagavad Gita, where in the 11th chapter, 55th verse, he says, only by the devotional service can I be understood. He doesn't say only by random service or non-devotional service, a service full of doubts and delusion, or service out of spite, or service for money. No, he says by devotional service can I be understood as I am.
But how is it causeless?
Because even doing that service, he won't be revealed. It's not like by doing that service, he just reveals himself. It's only when he wants to reveal himself. So that's his mercy. That he reserves that. He also says that in Bhagavad Gita. He reserves that. He doesn't have to be revealed to anyone. You know, he's the supreme person. There's no greater person. Like you're a person, Maharani's a person, Lakshmi Narayana and Guru Karuna are persons, I'm a person, everyone's a person. And then there are many, many greater persons than us, even amongst human beings. And then when you start to get into the different celestials, and even amongst the Asuras, there are many, many, many unlimitedly greater persons than us. And out of all these persons, then there's the supreme person. So that supreme person doesn't have to reveal himself. Prabhupada was simply giving a very understandable example. Even in this world, people don't have to reveal themselves if they don't want to. Just like some really big man, like some guy with unlimited money practically at his fingertips. He doesn't have to reveal his situation to anyone, only whomever he wants. So the same with Krishna. Prabhupada uses this word causeless mercy, but it just means mercy. It means when Krishna feels like doing it, when he wants to do it, when he decides to be merciful, then it can be known. Otherwise, many times you see the devotees, like take for example the gopis. They're performing devotional service. They want to see Krishna. They want to dance with Krishna, but Krishna won't come. Or even they go, and then Krishna does something, he says something just to make them angry. And so they chastise him. And then he has a little mercy, and they dance with him, but then he disappears. And he takes only one of them. And the others are left morose and upset. And so they search for him. And then they just find that queen because he has left her too. And so by his mercy he reveals himself. It's for his pleasure we all exist. He doesn't exist for our pleasure. This is, a sort of naive or rudimentary conception in religion that, we pray to the Father, the source of everything, to fulfill our desires, as though he exists for us. That may be better than the non-devotees simply laughing at him and mocking him and denying him. Like there's one Indian soap opera where this educated doctor comes to a village. And in the village, all the people are devotees of the goddess Durga in a merciful form. And there's one of her devotees there that basically distributes that mercy to all the people. When people have distress, they go and pray, and she helps them. But this doctor is completely faithless. He has no faith, and he tries to re-educate the people in science. This is all superstitious. This isn't going to help you. Take this prescription. Get to the hospital. That's the only way you're going to be saved. But it's just this fictional story, but it has some basis in reality. So in the story, despite what he does, this devotee always manages to come out victorious. Like, for example, some envious people. She was distributing prasad and some envious people poured poison in it. And people started to get sick. So immediately she prayed to the goddess. The goddess gave her some means to overcome this. And she carried it out. And everybody became well, and it became revealed that somebody put poison in it. Even the person who did it came begging forgiveness. So things like that. So this has some reality to it. It's not that they just make it up from the figment of their imagination. They may make up the story, or they may take the story from some other story. But the point is that Krishna is there, and he doesn't have to be revealed. Not even the goddesses have to be revealed. In fact, they reveal themselves less than Krishna reveals himself. But occasionally they reveal themselves, like they did for the Duki Krishnadas. One of the great devotees, who was a disciple of Chaitanya. Something Chaitanya. Yeah, Rida Chaitanya. And he went to Vrindavan, and in Vrindavan his devotion was so pure that somehow ever he spotted some anklet that actually belonged to Srimati Radharani, and he picked it up and held it, and when he saw the goddess Lalita, Radharani's associate, looking for it, then, he gave it to her. And she had mercy on him, and he received a special tilak and a special name. And, he became Shamananda Pandit by the mercy of the goddess. So also when we pray, we're praying to the goddess Radharani, to Krishna's eternal consort in Vrindavan, in his Vrindavan Leela. In Dwarka Leela, she becomes someone else. And we can pray to that person. But in Vrindavan, Krishna's eternal consort is Radharani. So, Radharani is most merciful. It's not, she's even more merciful than Krishna. So therefore you go to Vrindavan and everyone says Jai Radhe. And the goddess is always more merciful. Therefore they say Sita Ram. They don't say Rama Sita. They don't say Narayan Lakshmi. They say Lakshmi Narayan, because you approach Narayana through Lakshmi, because she's more merciful. Otherwise, Narayan's very reserved. Well, how's he going to hear us? He has tons of devotees there that can take care of things. He's set up, for all of us in the material world, he's set up a whole cosmic arrangement for our fulfillment. All we have to do is obey, and one gets whatever they want. So why does Narayana have to pay attention to our cries? He has so many devotees there that can fulfill them. And why does he have to worry about everybody worrying about the demons? He can kill the demons just with a germ if he wants. He doesn't need to be, come with his spear or club or anything. It's only to give mercy to devotees that he makes these appearances to revive their faith and their love and their devotion. He comes and personally reveals himself. Otherwise, he's absorbed, like Jagannath, like Krishna in Dwarka. He gets so absorbed, he becomes what we call Jagannath. It's just Krishna in ecstasy. Because even in Dwarka, when he hears about Vrindavan, he falls into ecstasy. So how's he going to hear the pitiful cries of people in Maya, who are actually great souls, but they think they're in Maya? They're just crying over spilt milk, so to speak. And there's that saying that sometimes people say, you're crying over spilt milk. It's already spilt. What are you going to do about it? There's nothing you can do. You can't pick it up from the ground and use it. It's spilt. There's no sense in crying about it. In the Gita, what does Krishna say? He says, there's no reason to lament, to cry. There's no reason to cry or to hanker after getting something. There's no need for any of that. The broad-minded person knows that. So therefore he takes his time accomplishing things. But the most intelligent person, he uses his body to accomplish Krishna consciousness. Our body and mind has a purpose. And if I use that purpose just for material things, I just get material things. But if I use it for spiritual things, then I get spiritual things. If I use my mind to remember Krishna, to hear about Krishna, talk about Krishna, to remember Krishna, to serve Krishna, to pray to Krishna, then I get Krishna eventually. As he decides to reveal himself. Not that I can force him. Oh, look how many times I've read. Look how hard I've chanted. I've done all this. Now Krishna is forced to reveal himself. The devotees are always very humble. They know. Krishna is never forced to reveal himself. It's my duty to serve him no matter what. Revelation or no revelation. It's my duty to serve him. So the devotees serve. And when Krishna wants, he reveals himself. It's just that's what's meant by mercy. That it depends on nothing else other than all of a sudden desire to be merciful. It may come at the right time. Krishna may enjoy doing that. We're just in the nick of time. Krishna saves the day. He does that a lot of times in his pastimes, just like Nanda Maharaj. One time on the bank of Holy River, he was being eaten up by a python. And all the cowherd men were trying to beat the python, but they couldn't do anything. And then Krishna appeared out of nowhere. He didn't even go with them, but then he comes out of nowhere and puts his foot on the python. And, saves the situation. Or like the cowherd boys, after the killing of the Kaliya serpent, not killing, but banishment of the Kaliya serpent. They're all in the forest, and all of a sudden there's a big forest fire. Even in Vrindavan sometimes, there's a forest fire. Just as great as the forest fires in California or Australia, sometimes even in Florida. So there was a big forest fire, and all the boys and cows were getting ready to burn up, and the cows were mooing, and the boys, what could they do? They're not devotees of anyone but Krishna. So they didn't call out to Agni. They didn't even call out to Sita. Sita saved Hanuman's tail from being burned. Or, maybe there's some other story that also saved it, but there's the story of, Sita praying that Hanuman's tail not be burned. So, but the boys, all they knew was Krishna. They just cried out to Krishna. And when their eyes were closed, Krishna simply swallowed the fire. So in the nick of time, he saved the day. Where do we think these mundane producers who produce these movies that attract the attention of everybody, where there's simply a hero who always in the nick of time saves the heroine or saves the people or defeats the villain? It all comes from Krishna's Leela. That's real history. That's real history. We study all these histories, and what do you remember in 100, 200, 300 years? Who remember George Washington and 500 years? Who remembers Caesar? What about, Caesar's right-hand man? What about the treasurer of Caesar's empire? Who remembers them? What was their name? Who remembers Caesar's wife's name? Who was it? Cleopatra. Well, who remembers her? It's only because they made some movies. Who's to say in 400 years who even remember these names? Where did these people go? Nobody even knows. So, real fame is to be a devotee, because we know what's going to happen with the devotee. They're going to join Krishna's Leela, they're going to have their plays, they're going to have all kinds of fun with Krishna, because that's Sanatan, eternal Dharma. Everything here is simply temporary Dharma. I'm good, I can become a Deva, and then as a Deva, one day my garland will wither, and I have to go back to the world of the mortals and follow Vedic rituals and principles. And again, I can get to become a Deva, maybe even a big Deva, Can even become a Brahma, and have all sorts of darshan with Vishnu and Shiva and be one of the most important persons in the universe. But is that eternal? No, because Vishnu is going to breathe it in. And it won't happen again until he breathes it out.
How long is that?
Oh, God knows how long, sometimes I've heard devotees use the word suspended animation. So when we're in suspended animation, when we're in such a sleep, when the souls who are, destined to reappear, who knows when you're sleeping, you never know what time it is. So it's whenever, Vishnu wants to, again, enter into these pastimes. You get some urge for, this type of Leela, where he actually does some fighting, and he assembles different devotees that can, play these big roles, and they have to be really potent and good. Ranyakashipu can't be a weak person. Neither can Ravan. They have to be powerful people that can be, actually a good foe for the Lord. where he can actually, experience some pleasure in the fight. It's just like, some big athletic team. They don't enjoy going and beating up on some rinky-dink team that has no chance, and they just aren't up to the same caliber and qualification. What pleasure do they have in it? They have to find somebody of equal caliber, where there's actually some competition, where they can, experience that rasa, pleasure, that mellow of where they actually excel to the best of their ability. That's what they look for. So, Krishna, he looks for something similar. So, actually the creation is nothing but mercy. Everything is mercy because it's all Krishna. And, we just call it mercy when our predicament or situation changes. We were stupid, materialist, just trying to take pleasure in some type of sense gratification. And then somehow ever, we started to become Krishna conscious. And who's to say the mercy comes all at one time? A little mercy here, a little mercy there, and the person gradually progresses. Initially, most people had to gain some faith. Especially, in modern day world, we're all indoctrinated to believe a Buddhist type of science, where, there's no Krishna really, and there is not even a soul. There's no eternal life. It just all magically appeared out of nothing. The nothingness philosophy. That's why they make those jokes where they show some Buddhist guru and he's very happy because all of his disciples have given him nothing on his birthday. Because, that's their philosophy, and that's modern science's philosophy. Just by chance it came out of nothing. And, and people are habituated to it. Krishna covers us with these crazy conceptions that it wouldn't be possible to think like that if Krishna was just revealed. So they use the analogy of a curtain. So Krishna pulls that curtain of Yoga Maya. Somehow our mind becomes covered over. Our thinking. All of this sounds, simply childish. This is what children read. They learn some morals. There's some like Aesop's fable. There's some moral to learn from it. This is just children's study. That's what they say. Instead, we need to learn mathematics and how to make all kinds of equations to find out how the universe has come about, because we don't accept that it comes out from a supreme person and that it's all personal. We don't accept that, so we have to figure out how it comes. So, it's this calculation and that calculation, and soon we have a world of machines that help us to do everything, and somehow these machines are going to, reveal whatever it is that has created life. And with our brains, we're going to understand it. And Krishna, his Yoga Maya, has put everybody into this illusion of believing all that. And, devotees, they leave us alone because we're just those faithful people. As long as we don't cause no trouble, it's fine. They try to be good, so they're not bad citizens. They're not bad people. And a lot of them work hard. They do their dharma. But really, they have some, this is the way these unfaithful, materialistic, scientific scholars think. They don't like to see the devotees getting a lot of influence. And politicians, they just use it to move the masses to get their votes. Not all of them, but a lot of them, maybe if not most of them. They wouldn't dare say anything against God because people may not vote for them. Anyhow, it's a little bit long-winded there, and all the way to 8:30. Anything else before we stop? Mother Krishna, though, before I forget, I need to get Devahuti's email. I wanted to send her something last night. There was some advertisement for a drama thing on the internet for children, Krishna conscious thing. I thought maybe she would want it for her daughter, you know. But I did, when I looked for an email, I couldn't figure it out to bring it up in my computer. Just ask her if she could text me or something, you know. I could.
Excuse me, can I go first, Mother? I have to go after the altar. Just for a second. Nothing to do with the class. When you found that brush, was it in here?
It was lying down there like a piece of incense, and I tried to light it.
But did you found it right up here, or you found it on the ground? And here, right?
I think I found it on the altar.
Oh, so it wasn't like that sticking.
Huh?
It wasn't right there.
Well, it may have actually been in, I can't remember, I know I put it in there, that I had found it, if I'm not mistaken, I can't
Because
remember.
I saw one this morning, like very stiff, and I was going to go pick it
Yeah,
up.
that was it.
Oh,
Yeah,
so.
but I had put it there, I think.
Okay, now there's 2% come out and the one who did the toxic treatment. So if I pass 2%, it's come out.
And I didn't realize what it was until I was getting ready to go, I lit it up to go put it outside, and it smelled funny, and then I looked at it.
It was a brush.
I saw it was something else.
Yeah, I just have to let them know, you know, that's why I'm looking, I'm trying to find out. But I saw it in here.
Well, you gotta keep it in the right place.
We must have got mixed with the incense. Okay. Yes, I'm ready.
What was it, Mother Krishna?
I was feeling gratitude when you were talking about Krishna. He will conceal himself because of all these impersonalists and all these liars. Whereas his dearmost friend and most compassionate soul, Prabhupada, he came on his direct order just to give us Krishna in such a beautiful, attractive form that I would have never known. This is God, you know, never in my life I would have never known. So I was feeling that kind of gratitude.
And he saved Prabhupada coming, you know, from heart attacks and
Yes.
common things like that. Because anybody can go at any time. Anytime anybody can go in this world, including devotees, because everyone dies. Devotees are supposed to know that. So, you know, he saved Prabhupada at least twice from heart attacks and illnesses. But Prabhupada, you know, is showing everybody how to live in the world. So when he realized that the time was right, he knew 6 months before. He said, take me to Vandana, it's time to die. You can tell, you know. So, but, you know, you never know when these things will happen. Like our devotee Prajapati, who recently passed away, he was an actor. And those talks with Swarup Damodar, where Prabhupada's talking about life comes from life, he asked some of those questions, but they just put it down as devotee. Or they put it down as Karanda, who was the temple president of the Los Angeles Temple then. And he's there asking questions along with Swarup Damodar. And then Prabhupada sometimes asked Swarup Damodar questions or Karanda questions. So sometimes it was Prajapati, but they didn't put his name in there. So anyway, you know, Prajapati was fairly prominent devotee. A lot of people knew him. He always had like a professional voice. I didn't meet, I may have saw him in a play, but I didn't know who he was until I was going to Dallas Temple several times. There were temple presidents' meetings there, and this devotee would always come in for the 7 o'clock greeting of the deities in Prabhupada Puja. And when he'd come in, he'd pronounce, Jai Prabhupada! And he'd walk on up in sort of a majestic way and bow down to Prabhupada. Stand up and say, Jai Prabhupada! And he'd like that. So anyway, Prajapati was with Madhava, who comes here, Madhava Das, who used to also be an actor, and sometimes acted with Prajapati. So he was helping Prajapati in his old age. Somehow or other Prajapati had become sort of homeless. And so Madhava has a house in Iowa around in the vicinity of the Transcendental Meditation people who have a college there at this town, some town in Iowa. So he was staying in Madhava's house. And Madhava came back down here to see what was happening with his wife, Anita. And so one day he was taking a bath and he slipped and died instantly. So old people, when they fall, it's very dangerous. They can either get, you know, severely injured or they can even die. Like we had an attorney who helped us with all sorts of legal things for 30, 40 years. And one day he's walking with his daughter in the woods by his house, and he slipped, tripped on a root, and hit his head and had a massive bleeding in the brain. Hemorrhage, they call it, hemorrhage in the brain. And passed away within a couple of days. So, that can happen to old people anytime, They can, they're very vulnerable to things like that. So we have to always be, very careful as we get older to do our devotional service. We don't have the same capacity as young people to do as many physical things. It's like Prabhupada couldn't even go to take the deity darshan in Vrindavan during those last 6 months. They would bring him, his disciples would bring him on a palanquin, take darshan of the deities. Anyhow, I don't know how I got into that.
No, it was very grateful, powerful. No,
Huh?
it was really nice.
Oh yeah, how Krishna saved Prabhupada so many times. For our benefit. Srila Prabhupada.